What's going on, everybody? So, as you can see, cutting some wood. Winter's coming up, starting to become fall. We're in September there now. So, started splitting some wood. And some of these bigger pieces there are getting pretty hard to split. Some of the smaller stuff's not too bad, but when I get into some of the bigger things there, doesn't want to split the greatest. This one will probably be alright, but I got some stuff on the other side of the pile driving the axe down into it and doesn't want to, just wants to do something like that, you know, hitting that pretty hard and it's not splitting all the way. So you gotta almost double whammy it. Get it to split. There's a lot of knots in it, a lot of little branches and stuff. So she gets pretty tiring. And I had my doubts of buying a wood splitter, but I went and I bought a wood splitter. So let's go have a look at it and try her out for the first time. Alright, so let's get this over and where we can have a look at it. So, ended up buying an electric wood splitter. It's a 9-ton, cuts up to a 20.5-inch log. They say max diameter would be 12.5 inches, but I think if you wanted, you could cut something 24-inch or whatever. Just got to be a little bit careful. So I was a bit hesitant on buying something like this. I wasn't too sure of what I really wanted or was expecting, but I ended up watching a few other people and they had electric splitters that were smaller and doing a fairly good job. So no gas is required, comes pre-filled. You can pretty much use it indoor or outdoor. Anyways, so ended up picking up a 9-ton. It was on sale. So let's get her open and go test her out. So here's the little unboxing video. It's a little heavy for me to move around by myself. So I'm going to get this box open and get the wheels put on it. At least I can pick up one end and wheel out the other. So let's see how we can get this out of here. So we have some instructions and how-tos and warnings. We'll probably skim through those there before we fire it up. Nice piece of wood for the top so things don't get broken. Got pretty decent packing. I'll show you here. You know, for a wood splitter that comes in a box, pretty decent packing. We got styrofoam. Oh, there's our wheels. It's wrapped up in some cardboard. Might wanna, yeah, we're gonna have to add a bit of air in there. There's tubes in these tires. This one seems more inflated than that one, but we'll add some air in there before we throw them on. We've got a couple little, looks like little legs, probably to go on one end. Another piece of styrofoam. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bottom of the box and then lift the box up and off. I don't want to lift that up by myself. It's probably 100, 150 pounds. Now make sure I'm not going to cut no wire or anything like that. There. That side seems to be done. Coming through the box a little bit. There we go. So it's got a nice, instead of like a flat surface, it's got a bit of a round surface. So when you set the log in, it stays there. You don't have to hold on to the log. The splitting wedge seems like it's pretty nice and pretty solid. Nice hard piece here. Seems to be constructed pretty good. So this here would be your vent. So you want to open and close that when you go to run it. Cool, so we're going to get the legs on. Put a couple of pounds of air for the tires. Those go down that way. So what's the max inflation on these? Max inflation 30 psi. We'll get some air in. There. So we got some air in our tires. 30 pounds in each one. Nice and hard. So you don't want to mount them so the stems are inwards because you'd never be able to get at them. So you want to mount the tires so the stems are on the outside so you can still put air in when you need to. That might work. We're going to need a wrench. Just a little liquid. So we'll leave one washer in. There. We'll put one washer on the outside. Styrofoam everywhere. Now you don't want to go crazy tight on these. You just want to get them in place. So I believe that's a 22. Yeah. So I'm not going to go crazy tight. I'm just going to go easy on this here. Tight. So that's a lock nut. So I mean, you just want to go snug. You don't want to go too tight because otherwise your tire's not going to spin. The other side on. So one washer on the inside, one washer on the outside. Make sure your valve stem's on the outside. There. Now, there's a handle down here. There. Oh, it's got a little footing for the motor. stand this up, I believe, for storage. Well, not quite. Maybe if there was something on the back. Back there. So we got a couple little legs there that goes down in the front. I'll be able to level itself out. These should be double nutted, but these just for little rubber stopper there on each side. A little tricky to get down in on. Looks to be well constructed. We'll get those two nuts there tightened up. So we got a 13 mil wrench to tighten down here. It's 22 mil for the back. I'm just going to snug these up. I don't think we're going to put too much force on them. Small rubber pads. Now you can also buy a stand that goes with this. You can take those little rubber pads that we're just putting on, back off, put the stand and stuff underneath, and I believe you take your wheels off and it hooks into where your wheels go. And then you got like an X-frame stand this could sit on. I think what I might do is, instead of it having it way down like this, what I'm going to do is build a frame, extend the wheels out further, and have like a bigger axle, and then have like two footings in the front to try and bring it up a little bit so it's not as low. So I'm not always laying down, more or less trying to work with it. You can also put that up on a table or something like that, or a bench that you built for doing this type of work. Alright, so let's get her outside, let's get her plugged in, and we're going to try her out. Well, I figured I'd go through the operating instructions just to make sure we don't want to do something we're not supposed to do right out of the box in front of our unit. So they tell us the first step in operating this unit is stand it up on the end. Make sure you got a spot where it's, you know, it's a little bit wobbly there, so make sure you got a spot where you can kind of stand it up on end. And then there's a nut that's right here. It's the drain off for the hydraulic oil. Well, we want to pull that out, and there should be a dipstick, I believe, attached to it. We want to check, yeah, see there's a dipstick here. We want to check our oil. Make sure it's full. Now, see if there's any fill marks. There's a hash and a hash there. There's two hash marks. So let's see. Wipe the dipstick clean and then reinsert it back into the oil tank. Pull up the dipstick and check if the oil level is between the grooves on the dipstick. So we got a mark here on the dipstick and a mark down here, so we want the oil in between. After verifying that the oil level is correct, insert the bolt with the dipstick back into the oil tank. Tighten and drain bolt in order to avoid leaking. Step 2, it says loosen the bleed screw. So this is your bleed screw right here. This allows the unit to breathe. Turn the bleed screw 3 full turns. Leave the bleed screw in a vertical position, so up and down. Vertical position aligned behind the wedge, or in a horizontal position aligned with the work table in order to avoid being sheared off by split logs during operation. So you want it to either be straight up and down or side to side so the logs don't come and hit this. Using the log splitter, plug the power cord in. Load the log into the log splitter by placing lengthwise. We know that. You can put the log in at this point. It says don't put too big of a piece, too long, because it's not going to work right. So you must, when you're operating it, you must be at the control end. Bring the jam log. Release both the switch and the hydraulic lever. Okay, I think we got her. So we're going to check the oil dipstick. The oil plug her in, and start working. So we're at the full mark of the dipstick. So our oil level is fine. We're just above the full mark. I don't think that's crazy bad. We're going to put our dipstick back in. We'll get her tightened up and out we go. Just got to be snug. Doesn't have to be overkill. Alright. So this is the first time using this log splitter. Now, I almost want to see what it's going to do with that giant log right off the get-go. Because I can take this axe, drive it through that log, and it's not going to split. So, right there, as you can see, that axe isn't going to split that log. So, what they're saying, oh, and when you're towing this out of the garage or the shed or whatever and you're coming across the lawn, make sure you hold on to it with 2 hands because she'll roll on you. So they're saying you gotta 1, 2, 3. Should be good. I want you to open up the valve so the hydraulics can breathe. Okay. Well, in order to use this, you gotta use 2 hands. And on this one, there's 2 speeds, I believe. They got a soft wood, so that's probably a low speed, and they got a hardwood, that's a higher speed. So they got 2 speeds on this. So you got to push the button, and then pull the lever down on the other side. This is the first time it's gone through stroke. And when you stop it, it automatically goes back unless you hold the handle. So it's spring loaded, it'll go back on its own. There might have been a stopper where I can adjust it from stopping to go back so far. So I'll move this away from the pile a little. Alright, let's do this small piece first, I guess. Find the button. That one pretty good. Try the big one. I know the axe wouldn't split it. There. Not bad. You got 2 speeds on this. You got high, low. So the first little bit's high. So if it doesn't like it, it's going to back itself up, I guess. So there's a softwood and a hardwood now. Let's try on slow. high speed doesn't have as much power as the low speed setting. That's alright. She went through that wood pretty good. Let's finish up this here. So you're always supposed to have your hands free. That's why it's a two-hand operating system. Perfect. There we go. So, if you had your doubts and you weren't sure about the Yardworks 9-ton, this is how it operates. Procedure how to put things together, and make sure you smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for future content. See you guys next time.